Happy, what day is it? Monday. It's Monday. Welcome in. I'm gonna give some time for people to come in. I hope all is well today. And I know it's been a crazy couple of days. So if it's not well, I completely understand. And that's why we're doing a check-in today. I didn't do a poll. I was out of town last week, so things got crazy. But um, I didn't get a chance to do a poll, so I just thought it would be a good time to do a mental check-in. So I want to give us some time to come in, but I want to do some things a little bit unorthodox today because of the fact that I want to be sensitive to what's going on right now. Things are just not okay. Um, yeah, Anastasia, I understand. Things are just getting crazy. So, I mean, really, this live is just going to be a quick mental check-in today. It's going to be more affirmations and some journaling prompts that you can take away from today. Some quick tips for mental check-in. And I really truly hope that it's helpful. I want to be very intentional about the space that we're in right now. And I feel like even just at work today, like everybody was just kind of ignoring the fact that craziness is like is happening. And I'm like, it's tough getting through the workday, okay, let alone trying to live life. So I hope tonight is just a little light in the darkness that's happening right now. And feel free to share, like if you have questions or if you need to get something off your chest or even just how you're feeling. Please feel free to drop them in the comments. We're live on both Instagram and YouTube today. But if this is your first time, my name is Debbie. I'm a certified mindfulness coach. This channel is all things self-care, self-help, meditation, mindfulness, and I post meditations weekly, but also do a live on a mental health topic that's typically voted on, but we're just doing a quick check-in today. So I'm not even going to start how I initially start, y'all. Let's start with some breath work, okay? Let's do some breath work before we dive in. So if you are sitting, on your couch, or if you're just on the floor, or your side of the bed, or you're in the car, or whatever, if you're able to, just take a moment and close your eyes. Sit very comfortably, sit up nice and tall. You gotta place your hands however you want to. So if you want to place them in your lap, if you want to put them this way, or if you want to put them this way, if you want to fold them in your lap, that's okay. If you want to put them to your side, that's okay. And if you can, if you're able to, go ahead and just take a deep breath and close your eyes. Just being in this present moment. I'm going to turn down the music just a little bit. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Another deep breath in and breathe out. Good. We'll do a few more, but I'm going to count you off, and we're going to pause at the top of the breath and then do an extended exhale. I'm going to count you off, okay? So breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, and breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. And again, breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, and breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One last time. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, and breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. If you gotta move around and shake it off. That's good. You can open your eyes. I'm glad it feels good, Anastasia. I mean, ultimately, that I talk about breath work all the time, but ultimately it's there to help just regulate for now. It's not a, it's a quick fix. It's not, it's, it helps in the moment. Um, but I hope that just helps just to kind of bring you back in center so that way we can talk about what we're talking about tonight. Like I said, what I have is very light outside of the affirmations and journal prompts. But just a few things, like a few reminders that I want to talk through when it comes to just checking in with yourself, doing a mental check in. I know we talk about mental check ins often, but I feel like we can't talk about it enough because it's something that we are not intentional about and don't necessarily do all the time. So it's going to be a few reminders here. But when we're thinking about the times that we're in now, right, and where we are, just where we're just bombarded all day, every day with what's happening in the world, with just the whole political climate. We're protesting every day. We have, rumors of wars, actual wars. There's missiles going. Like, there's just craziness right now. What's really most important for you to do right now is to protect and guard your mental state, okay? Protect and guard your mental state, like your life depends on it, because it really does, right? At this point, there's so much happening, and we're experiencing, what we're experiencing isn't just the actual things that's happening, but the overstimulation of it all, because it's all happening very quickly, is happening simultaneously, is happening all at one time. And so our nervous systems become overwhelmed to the point where we are extremely exhausted. We're spending a lot of time just trying to be sane. We're spending a lot of time in trying to mitigate our confusion and trying to find clarity. And our brains are only have the capacity to take in but so much on a daily basis. And I think that we're just at a point where we're just overloaded with information, and not just overloaded with information, but some of the information is false, some of it's AI, some of it's the truth, some of it's half truths. And so it's not even just trying to digest all of the information that's happening, but also trying to decipher what you should listen to and what's truth and what's not. And I think that's what adds to the fatigue of what's already happening. So one of the things that I want to just really pinpoint on is that we have to protect and guard our mental state, and we have to be extremely intentional about it, because of the fact that we get overloaded in non-conventional ways, whether it be through social media, whether it be just through having conversations, whether it be through the news or just with television. And then it's like now you're watching a TV show, but now the TV show is interweaving what's happening in the real world right now. So then you can't even enjoy the show because now it's talking about what's happening right now. So you have to protect and guard your mental state. So how are we going to do that, right? We'll start with our time, right? Being intentional about how you start and end your day. Are you starting your day where you're not even out of bed and you're already scrolling and you're looking at the news or you're looking at what's happening? Being intentional about how you start your day is very much going to showcase how the rest of your day is going to be. So if you're starting your day in a rush, if you're starting your day stressed, if you're starting your day anxious, if you're starting your day with bombarding yourself with information, whether that be intentionally or unintentionally, that adds to the fatigue, that adds to the frustration, that adds to the lack of clarity and confusion. So be intentional about how you begin your day and how you end your day. Try when you wake up in the morning, not touching or checking your email for maybe at least the first 15, 20 minutes. For me, I try for an hour, like not to touch. Doesn't happen every day. But trying to start your day outside of technology and outside of information gathering, right? Spending your time in stillness, spending your time in meditation and journaling and prayer. Even this morning, actually, I didn't even, I got up, I just put on my workout clothes and I just went out for a walk. And I didn't even I took my phone, but I listened to an audible book rather than like music. Like I just wanted to get I wanted something that I could listen to that was inspirational but not too much to where I was overloaded or overwhelmed. So it doesn't necessarily have to look like stillness. It could be getting more active and spending your time that way before you start your day instead of scrolling, turning on the TV, listening to podcasts, because even like listening to podcasts can be overwhelming sometimes because they're filtering information also. So just thinking and being very intentional about how you start your day and how you end your day. What are you watching before bed, right? Are you watching the news? Are you scrolling right before bed? Are you in the bed scrolling? How are you positioning the end of your day? Are you having trouble sleeping? That's another way to kind of think about, hey, maybe I should change my night routine, because if I'm having trouble sleeping, maybe I'll end the day with a nice long bath, or I end the day with a nice shower, or I end the day with like a self-care regimen or routine. Something that eliminates technology, giving your eyes, giving your ears a break, ending the day in silence, just turning everything off. But being very intentional about how you're spending your time, but primarily how you are starting your day and how you're ending your day is crucial, because you have those two bread pieces at the end, that kind of dictates what's going to go in the middle. Okay. So keep that in mind. So time. Next thing is, and I kind of alluded to it, but limiting social media and what you're watching and what you're listening to. I have a rule that I don't listen to any like crazy news or anything until after 12 o'clock. Afternoon is when I put on news, or I'll put on the different podcasts that are talking about the news, because me doing that early in the morning was exhausting for me. It was a lot of fatigue that would happen earlier in the day because I would be working, but then also loading my day with, listening to a podcast or listening to a whole lot of information. So, limiting social media, limiting what you're watching and what you're listening to, sandwiching those things so that way you're sandwiching it with positivity versus you just listening to difficult things all day long. So those are a few tidbits. Trying to make sure I'm not missing anything there. Yeah, that's pretty much it for like limiting social media. The other thing would be good getting outdoors. I mentioned that, so staying active, getting in nature, disconnecting from technology, and being consistent with that every day. Whether that be, like I said, in the morning, or if you decide to do that on your break, if you are working, in the office and you want to be able to like walk away from your desk, which I do recommend for people to walk away from their desk instead of like doing Happy Monday, hey Dr. Quinn, instead of eating at your desk or having your lunch at your desk, or even just staying in the building, getting out and taking a walk, whether it's just 10 or 15 minutes, like just finding a way to disconnect, especially if you work where you're sitting all day, right? If you're sitting all day, getting up and moving and being active during your break is a good way to kind of break up the monotony. But then also too, a good way to just disconnect, because this is where we're at right now, and looking and finding ways to disconnect. I know it's tough. I know it's been a crazy couple of days, but also just a crazy couple of hours, honestly, and understanding on what's going on around us. So finding the best ways to disconnect was crucial right now. So that was getting outdoors. Next, pay special attention to your diet, y'all. Don't allow the stress to make you stress eat, because that will do nothing but make you feel worse. And I had to stop myself. because I've been stress eating these last couple of days, and I'm like, no more. Let's calm that down, because you're starting to feel sluggish. Now you're starting to feel even more tired and fatigued, because you're trying to load yourself with sugar or whatever to try to eliminate the stress. Is going to do nothing but make it worse. So be very intentional about what you're eating, if you're hydrating, if you're taking your supplements, if you need supplements, and your medication, if you need medication, like just making sure that you're taking care of yourself when it comes to what you're digesting. Because if we're already taking in all of these traumatic experiences, emotionally, physically, if we're taking in trash just as much as we're taking in the emotional trash, it's just going to make us feel even worse. So be very intentional about your diet, what you're eating. If you are eating, because sometimes when we get into these traumatic states, we forget to eat, or we'll wait till the end of the day or do one big meal versus us actually eating throughout the day, or we'll forget to drink our water, or there's so many different things that could be happening, especially when we're trying to avoid things or we're trying to disconnect. Sometimes we disconnect from everything, including food. So it's not just about what you're eating, but if you are one of those people, which I can tend to do this sometimes too, is if you forget to eat, being very intentional about it, okay? But yes, paying attention to your diet, and then rest, y'all. Rest is important. Now, it may be difficult. Some people may be having difficulty resting right now, so that's another conversation, but being very intentional about resting and getting your sleep, not sitting up worrying and anxiety and anxiousness and fear, but allowing yourselves to get rest. Because once we're taking in all of this emotional baggage, and we're taking in all this emotional trauma, but then our bodies are not well rested, it just makes things worse. It just makes things more difficult, because now that you're emotionally tired, you're also physically tired, okay? So keeping that in mind as you're trying to navigate this time. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything here. Making rest priority. And oh yeah, I kind of talked about it too, but rest is also sitting in stillness, whether it be meditation or meditation or prayer, but even just turning off everything. Turning off all of the electronics, turning off the TV, turning off the radio, turning off the computer, turning off, your phone, like physically turning it off, and just giving yourself space of silence, and because it's too much. It's too much information to where we feel like we get to a point where we feel like we have to have noise. And when we feel like we have to have noise, that can be a difficult place to be in, especially when we're overloaded with information. So finding spaces of quietness. I've actually been driving without music for a little while. And that may sound daunting to some people, but it's actually very freeing. Just turning off everything, turning off the radio, no music, rolling the windows down, and just driving to where I was going to drive, whether it be just a grocery store or whatever, just gives you some mental space and clarity. It gives you a little bit of that nature. You get the wind blowing in your hair, the sun beaming on your face. Like just giving yourself space of silence is actually really, really helpful. And even though you may think that it's not, I've been doing it, and it actually has been. Even sometimes my kids are like, oh, it's too quiet in the car. I like it that way. Okay, I don't need nothing. Don't turn nothing on. Everybody just be quiet. All right. So just finding ways to, not just with rest and physical rest, but finding spots of stillness and peace and quietness can actually help throughout the day, and help with reset too. So that was that. And then lastly, give yourself what you need, but be careful of self-isolation. This is a time where a lot of us may self-isolate. Okay. And even though disconnecting from people can be helpful, but doing that for prolonged periods of time can turn into depression. It can turn into a matter of burnout and then evolve into a sense of depression, hopelessness, and just severe, persistent sadness. So being very intentional about removing yourself from situations when you need be, but also not allowing yourself to fall into the wallow of self-isolation where you're sitting in hopelessness and sadness. Because sometimes community is what you need. And having a sense of someone that you can lean on, or people that you can lean on, can be helpful just as much as disconnecting. So being able to take the time to decipher what you need in that moment and not allowing yourself to wallow and sit in self-isolation, because that can be dangerous as well. Okay, so I hope that was helpful, y'all. Before I jump into journal prompts, where are we at? What time? Okay, before I jump into journal prompts, one other thing that I want you to be cognizant of. Yes, Samantha, absolutely. It can mess you up. It'll be nice at first where you're like, okay, I got a break, I got some clarity, like I'm sitting in it, I'm okay, like this is all right, this feels a little bit better. But then it kind of just takes a shift to where it's like you start to spiral when it comes to self isolation. So just be careful. But when we're talking about that self-isolation, this is where we can do our reflection, right? We're taking some time to sit with ourselves, to disconnect. We need to regroup. We need to recalibrate. We need to restore. This is where we can sit and process our emotions. This is the biggest thing that I want us to take away from tonight, is that processing your emotions is important, because when you don't process them, they sit in your body. And when they sit in your body, it affects your emotions, your behaviors, your thought patterns, and things of that matter. So allowing yourself to process your emotions and naming what you're feeling, so that way you're able to process it, is important. Being able to vocalize or even journal like what you're actually feeling, even if it's for yourself, so that way you can, one, understand what you're feeling, two, validate what you're feeling, and then three, be able to move past and allow that thing to come and to go. Because a lot of times if we're not processing, it will come and then it will sit, and we don't want it to sit. Okay, so emotional naming, being very intentional about naming the emotions that you're feeling. So right now, I kind of wrote down some emotions, because a lot of times when we think about emotions, we think about five. We think I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm happy, I'm upset, and then angry and upset and mad. It'd be the three emotions that we pick out, and it's all the same thing. Okay, so I named a few, because anger is typically an emotion as a secondary emotion. So typically what a secondary emotion is something that you would feel after you feel what you initially were feeling. So we try to deal with that secondary emotion versus the primary. So here's a few primary emotions that you may be feeling that may be associated with your secondary, which is, especially now, overwhelmed, disconnected, anxious, numb, frustrated, exhausted, disappointed, lonely, confused, depressed, restless, unmotivated, discouraged, drained, stuck, scattered. You may be feeling grief, or grieving, or guilt, shame. And those are the ones that I kind of came up with. Fear was another one, if you're just really fearful, and in addition to that, anxiousness, right? So being able to like pinpoint and name what you're feeling, and then be intentional about processing it. How do you process it? You validate. Okay, right now I'm feeling extremely confused right now. I don't know what's happening, and because of my confusion, it's leading to anxiousness. That's secondary, right? So I start with confusion, now I'm anxious, right? So validate what you're feeling, doing it without judgment and without trying to fix it. At this point, it's like, I feel this way. I don't want to necessarily fix what I'm feeling. I just want to notice, validate that it's there, so that way I give it some time to pass, right? And then in that moment, give yourself what you need, right? You're not necessarily looking to fix what you're feeling in that very moment. You're just saying, okay, I'm feeling anxious right now. I need a break. Let me just take a break right now, right? Allow yourself to process what's happening, and then that way you're able to push it out. Even pinpoint where it's coming up in your body, right? If you're feeling anxious, where does that show up? Does it show up in your shoulders? Do you get tightness in your back? Do you feel like, that you get like the I call them the tinglies, but you get these little tingle feelings like over your arms and over your chest, or whatever? Do you get heart palpitations? Does your breath get a little bit more shallow? So thinking about what's actually happening and working on the symptoms versus you trying to fix the thing, because once you try to fix it, sometimes it gets to a point where you just dismiss what you're feeling versus you actually processing it. So sometimes what we'll say is like, oh, well, I'm frustrated, but it's okay, I'm fine, I'm all right. And that's dismissive to the point where you're just pushing it down versus allowing yourself to process it. So you want to process it. You want it to allow it to be. So it definitely is something that you want to be intentional about. Yes, your chest and your stomach, absolutely, absolutely. And even when it comes to, like, for women, it just, like, with like pelvic pain sometimes will pop up even outside of your stomach. It's just like pelvic pain or groin pain, you may experience when it comes to stress and anxiety. It shows up in people differently, so it's important for you to understand and pinpoint how it shows up for you. So that way, when you feel it, you know what it is, and you're able to give yourself what you need in that moment. Sometimes we'll feel these things and we ignore it, and then at that point, we don't do anything about it until it gets extremely worse or is something that you just can't ignore anymore. Okay. So I hope this was helpful, y'all, as far as like how to do our mental check-in. But at the end of the day, protect and guard your mental state right now. And also, if you have very strong emotions, and name them, validate them without judgment, and give yourself what you need in the moment. Okay. So I hope this was helpful. We're going to dive into journal prompts and affirmations. So I have 5 of each. Feel free to write these down. Feel free to use it however you want to use it. Oh, nice, Anastasia. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. But yeah, so feel free to write these down however you want to. Feel free to change the language if you need to change the language, if it makes more sense for you. And this isn't necessarily something you have to take all of them down, but if it sits with you, it resonates with you, feel free to write it down in your journal and journal tonight before bed. So that way you have something to kind of release before you go to sleep, and that way you can get some rest tonight, y'all, okay? First, journal prompts. Let's see here. And I know I listed a bunch of emotions here, but there are so many emotions that you could write down for this first question. But the first question is, what's the emotion under my autopilot today? What is the emotion under my autopilot today? What is the emotion under my autopilot today? Okay. If you find yourself operating on autopilot, there's typically an emotion under it, right? I feel like we all may be in that state of autopilot. We're just trying to get through the day, right? We're just trying to navigate the day the best we can based off of how we're feeling right now, right? So you want to name what's under that autopilot. What's there? Is it disconnection? Is it overwhelm? Is it numbness? Is it anxiety or fear? Is it frustration? Name what you're feeling under that autopilot. Why are you in autopilot? Okay. The second question is, what am I currently carrying that I didn't choose or that I do not own? What am I currently carrying that I didn't choose or that I do not own? What am I currently carrying that I didn't choose or that I did not own, that I do not own? That question is really just to pinpoint any stressors or anything that you are holding on to right now that wasn't no fault of yours. Sometimes we take on the trauma and the frustration and the issues and the stressors of other people, and we carry that around with us to the point where it adds to our current state of being, right? It may mess up our whole day, or it may create or shift our mood. So really pinpointing those areas in your life right now that you have picked up the offense, or you have picked up something from someone else and you're carrying that weight. And I want you to pinpoint it. I want you to write it down, but I also want you to release it, right? I release this because we got too much to carry already, y'all. It's already too much to carry. And the fact that we're carrying things that don't belong to us is, it's frustrating. It's tiresome, it's exhausting, and based off of the state of where we are right now, we don't need to carry more than what we even have for ourselves. So this is just a way for you to pinpoint if there's anything that you're carrying right now that is from another person, another environment, another situation that has nothing that you can, there's nothing you can do about it, nothing you can control, and release it, right? So that's number 2. Number 3, what do I need that I've been afraid to name? What do I need that I've been afraid to name? What do I need that I've been afraid to name? Okay? A lot of times, for me, and this could look different for other people, but for me, a lot of times I'm afraid to tell myself that I need a day off, or I need to take time off, or that I need help. Okay? Sometimes it's hard for me to say, hey, I need help. I'm not going to be able to do this by myself. Or, hey, I know I got a lot of stuff that I need to do at work, but, right now, I need the day off. I need to take some time, right? So pinpoint those things that you tell yourself that you can't have, right? Now, I ain't telling you to go out here and do nothing willy-nilly, but you know what I'm saying, okay? I'm not telling you to go out here and get drunk something, go wild, like I need a drink. No, I'm not saying that. But tell yourself, what is it that you need that you've been afraid to name? If you need a break, if you need help, if you need a shoulder to cry on, ask for it, go for it. And tell yourself, like, hey, it's okay to ask for this help. It's okay to get what I need right now, because it's overwhelming, and I'm probably going to spiral if I don't get the things that I need right now. Okay, it may just be a day off. It may just be a spa day. It may just be I need to like shift how I'm eating. It may just be I need to do a quick fast from social media this week. It could be so many different things. But thinking about what you've been afraid to tell yourself you need right now, okay? And that was number 3. Number 4, where am I showing up? Oh, hold on. Where am I showing up out of habit instead of honesty? Okay. Where am I showing up out of habit instead of honesty? I cannot talk today. Where am I showing up out of habit instead of honesty, right? Sometimes we're showing up in spaces just because it's been a habit, versus us being honest with ourselves and saying, this isn't for me right now. I can't do this right now, right? Whether it be an environment, whether it be a relationship, whether it be, just certain situations. Where are you showing up just because it's been a habit, something that you've just had to do all the time, instead of being honest with yourself of what you need, right? I honestly can't show up for you as your friend right now. I have a lot of things going on. I have to disconnect. I love you, but right now this is not for me, and I need to disconnect, right? That it may be hard to have that conversation with a friend or with a family member or whatever, or like a partner, but if you have to disconnect to regroup, then you have to disconnect, right? Even sometimes with my children, sometimes I'm like, listen, y'all, I love y'all. Now, granted, my kids are a little bit older, but they're 17 and 15, so they're older. But there's times where I'm like, you know what, Mom had a really tough day today. Give me 20 minutes. Give me 30 minutes. Don't ask me no questions. Okay? I'm going to go in my room. I'm going to close the door. Just don't burn down the house in 30 minutes. I just need some time. Okay? So it's not like as if it's just with friends or whatever. It's with the people that you're expected to take care of. Sometimes you're just like, I can't right now. Just give me 20, 30 minutes. Now, granted, if you got newborn, you got a child under the age of 5, drop them off at grandma's house or something. But you gotta give yourself something, okay? So where am I showing up out of habit instead of honesty? Be very crucial and honest with yourself with that, and make adjustments as needed. And then lastly, what would it look like to care for the real me today? What would it look like to care for the real me today? What would it look like to care for the real me today? What does that look like? Be realistic, y'all. Be very realistic of what it looks like. Even if it's something that you're going to journal tonight, you can say, what does it look like to care for the real me in the morning, right? What is my morning going to look like tomorrow? Okay, what am I going to change? Should I set my alarm for a different time? Should I set my alarm on my phone? Maybe I should set my alarm somewhere else so that way I don't have to touch my phone in the morning, right? Should I put some blocks on some of the apps in the morning so that way I'm not prone to go to the apps and put time limits on it? Okay, like what can you do to make sure that tomorrow is just a little bit brighter, has a little bit more light, has a little bit more hope, right? What can you do for yourself tonight to ensure that happens? It could be, listen, I'm gonna do like I did when I was in school. I'm gonna take my shower tonight. I'm gonna lay out my clothes. I'm gonna do my hair tonight and wrap it up so that way in the morning I'm not rushing. It could be something as simple as that. So just think about what it is you can do for yourself today or tonight, but also what you can be proactive about for tomorrow morning. Okay. So that was the 5 journal prompts. The number 1 was what's the emotion under my autopilot today? What am I currently carrying that I didn't choose or that is not my own? What do I need that I've been afraid to name? Yeah. What do I need that I've been afraid to name? Where am I showing up out of habit instead of honesty? And what would it look like to care for the real me today? Okay, affirmations. 5 affirmations here. Number 1, my emotions are not too much. It's my body's effort to protect me. My emotions are not too much. It's my body's effort to protect me. One last time, my emotions are not too much. It's my body's effort to protect me. So just understanding that sometimes we may go through life and people are telling us that we're too much, our emotions are too much, or it's too overwhelming, or I need to calm down, or I'm doing the most, or whatever. No, if you're feeling it, it's there. Your body and your mind is trying to tell you something, right? And it's a lot of times it's your mind and body looking to find ways to protect you. So don't beat yourself up about your emotions. Just allow yourself to feel them, validate them, process them without judgment, so that way you're able to process and release them. Okay, but just understanding that if you're feeling overwhelmed, you feel or you feel like it's too many emotions, right? Don't beat yourself up about it. It's just your body just trying to tell you something. It's trying to teach you something about you, your environment, or the people around you. Okay. So that was number 1. Number 2, I still deserve care even when I don't know what I need. I still deserve care even when I don't know what I need. I still deserve care even when I don't know what I need. So just understanding, just because you don't know what you need doesn't mean that you just dismiss the fact that you need something, right? It's a matter of, I need to dig in, I need to evaluate, I need to find ways to restore, right? It also could mean that you just need your go-to restorative things that you do when you don't know what you need. Because sometimes you're not gonna always know. Sometimes we're just so overwhelmed and so frustrated and confused and lack of clarity and hopelessness or whatever that we don't even know what we need. So now we just maybe put together a list of maybe 2 or 3 things that are always restorative that you can lean on in those moments that you feel like you need something, but you don't know what it is. Okay. And that could be your deep breathing, that could be prayer, that could be meditation, that could be you just taking a silent moment, it could be music, it could be so many different things, it could be being creative, it could be reading, there's so many different routes that you can go. Only you know what's restorative for you, and leaning on those things in the spaces and the times where you don't know what you need, but I know I have this, I know I can do this. What are those things? Okay. So I still deserve care even when I don't know what I need. Number 3, there is room for all of me here. There's room for all of me here, the troubled, the tired, and the frustrated. There is room for all of me here, the troubled, the tired, and the frustrated. One last time. There is room for all of me here, the troubled, the tired, and the frustrated. Okay? Sometimes we make room for the happy spaces and the happy times, but we don't make room for the frustrated and the troubled spaces and the tiredness, right? We brush it off, we push it down, we find ways to suppress it. Make room for it because it's there. And the more that you suppress it and push it down, you prolong the healing, you prolong the processing, you prolong the growth. So make room for it so that way you're able to process versus push down. You want to process through it. You don't want to push down. Okay. So that was number 3. There is room for all of me here, the troubled, the tired, and the frustrated. Number 4, I release the need to be perfect and trust that peace will find me and hold me. I release the need to be perfect and trust that peace will find me and hold me. I release the need to be perfect. I trust that peace will find me and hold me. Okay, so it's a matter of, a lot of times we find ourselves in anxiety, fear, confusion, and even disconnectedness. A lot of the times we find ourselves there because we're trying to control. We're trying to control things that we have no control over. And so that's where perfectionism comes from, right? Perfectionism, the root of perfectionism is control. Just a matter of you wanting things to be a certain way, so that way you have the highest probability of the outcomes being the way that you want the outcome to be, right? So if you're not perfect, then that makes room for things to be imperfect. But the fact of the matter is life is imperfect. So there's going to be imperfect things. So just taking the time to release the need of perfection, releasing the need for control. And with that release comes peace, right? Because now you're no longer focused on, I need to fix this, I need to fix this, I need this to be perfect, I need it to be perfect. And once you release that, peace comes. Peace will find you and it will hold you there, right? So I release the need to be perfect and trust that peace will find me and hold me. It's just a reminder that we can't control everything, especially the world that we're living in right now. The president is the president. How much we may hate it right now, it is what it is. And yes, we can protest, and yes, we can do all of these things, but at the end of the day, if this continues the way that it is going to be, how are we going to sustain for the next 4 years? It's only been 7 months, going into the 7th month, right? So how can we find peace even when we're surrounded in an environment that isn't ideal and that's uncomfortable, right? And that is uncertain, right? How do we find peace? How can we do that? By releasing control and trying to control these things and finding other ways to manage, right? Hello, hi Cola, welcome in. So that was number 4. Yes, that was number 4. And then lastly, number 5, I release the pressure to be okay and make room for love, compassion, and hope. I release the pressure to be okay and make room for love, compassion, and hope. I release the pressure to be okay and make room for love, compassion, and hope. Okay? So this is not the time to be I'm good, because we not. Okay? I'm not. I'll be real honest. I'm not. I'm not 100% okay. And so it's okay to not be okay. Let go of that pressure of wanting to, oh, I'm fine. Oh, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm that toxic positivity, right? The positivity that is dismissive versus inspirational, right? Release the pressure to be okay. If you're not okay, you're not okay, and that's okay to not be okay, right? And once you're able to release the pressure of being okay, that makes room for you to embrace the love around you, embrace compassion within yourself and within the people that are around you, and then to find hope. Okay? It gives you space, because when we load ourselves with, even when we're talking about being perfect and having control, when we load ourselves with unnecessary pressures, and we load ourselves with the matter of us trying to control any and everything around us, it fills up our space to the point where we can't find space for hope. We can't find space for change. We can't find space for growth. We can't find space for love or compassion. There's no room, right? So the more that we release, the more we let go, the more room we make for love, for compassion, for peace, for hope, for serenity, for finding some sense of being, for purpose, right? We make room for those things when we release the things that we can't control. Okay? So I hope and pray this was helpful, y'all. I hope and pray that this brought some type of help, solace, even if it was just to let some things out and to take a few deep breaths at the top of our call. But I hope this was helpful. I'll go back through the affirmations quickly. Number one was, my emotions are not too much. It's my body's effort to protect me. Number two, I still deserve care even when I don't know what I need. Number three, there is room for all of me here, the troubled, the tired, and the frustrated. Number four, I release the need to be perfect and trust that peace will find me and hold me. And then number five, I release the pressure to be okay and make room for love, compassion, and hope. Okay, so I thank y'all all for coming. Again, my name is Debbie, certified mindfulness coach. We do this live every Monday, so please check in next week. We'll be having a new poll up on Saturday for our new topic. And make sure to go to the website to sign up for our mindfulness newsletter. You can go to haveninspired.com and sign up for the newsletter. I'll be sending out weekly updates from our lives, additional mindfulness tips, as well as like links to all of the upcoming videos. And then I will have a few meditations posted this week. One will be Christian based, and then the others probably will be like a mental check-in, like something that's surrounding this topic. So look out for those meditations. And other than that, I think that's it. I hope and pray that everything's okay with you all, that you are blessed this week, you find some peace this week, that you find some form of hope, some form of solace. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. You can always DM me on Instagram or message me at info@haveninspired.com. Actually, your comment just disappeared. Hold on. Da, 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 da. If you sign up for the newsletter, I will send them out on Wednesday, but I'm also going to save the live, so you can always come back to it. So I'll be saving the live, and it should be up in a couple of minutes, so you can come back and write them down. I'm on my tablet, so it's gonna be hard for me to copy and paste because that's on my laptop. But you'll get them in the newsletter, or you can watch the live back once it's posted. Okay, of course, Cola. If there's any other questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I hope to see y'all all back with me next Monday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Bye. Talk to you soon.